Okay, let's start today with this first session of M&EZ. What's M&EZ? It's monitoring and evaluation made easy. So first, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Alfredo Fort. I'm a public health physician with more than 40 years working in development, and what we're going to talk about here is related to the area of development, but you can see easily it can be and will be applied to almost every aspect of your life if you're an interested person in learning. But it's more applied to programming and to project management, if you like. So why are we doing this? We're going to have 13 sessions just to explain the basics, the fundamentals, but also tips and examples about how can we make it easy, monitoring and evaluation. So why would we do this? Oh, it's very important because first, there's a trend. This is a trend. More and more, everyone is going to want more value for the money. So if you're running a project, a program, or even if you yourself are implementing something, you want to find out, okay, so is it worth what I'm doing? How is that? And also because it's more integral. Before, maybe it was considered, well, research, this and that, but now more and more it's integral to management. So we all have to know about monitoring and evaluation. But mostly, I would say, and you'll see that from my examples, it's because it's fun. It can be fun. There's a lot of learning to be had. And also, I'm going to put this to you over and over again. The principles you'll be learning here, you can apply to your daily life. Everything that you do almost has and can have these components. Okay, so we're gonna talk about key concepts as well as examples as much as we can, because we know if it's too theoretical, or you're not gonna get it, and you're just gonna drop off quickly. So let's move on and say, so why are we doing this? The first reason is because it's the reality. The reality is that we need to make monitoring and evaluation easy because there's very little knowledge of it. It has, sometimes doctors also do, you keep it, secluded, and you use, very scientific terms so people can't understand, and so they will fear it, they will distrust, or maybe they will revere it, but they would never think of doing themselves or applying themselves some things that you should. This is what we're going to say. You should and you can. So what happens is that then this lack of attention given to monitoring and evaluation, because it's feared or it's distrusted, we want to clash, we want to break that and to make it so tenable, so understood, well understood, that people can be comfortable with it. Another thing that we need to say about M&E, right? We're going to use M&E, right? The short term, is the connotation that it has in many people's minds. Well, it's an afterthought. Oh, evaluation. Oh, yeah, we're going to evaluate. Well, have you thought about the word evaluation? What does it bring in your mind? It brings, oh, yeah, in the past. Yeah, we'll evaluate what we did, right? But we'll see very quickly that if you have not set things up, you won't be able to evaluate things. So it has this thing about, hindsight. I'll tell you, in my experience, we've had to retrofit. It's a word that I learned soon after I wanted to do M&E, that you had to retrofit things because you had not laid out, you had not set things up in order to do the proper evaluation, so you had to retrofit. So when you have that as the reality, what's the consequence? The consequence, there's two very important consequences. The first is the mind frame. Everything starts with, right, with here. And the mind frame, we'll see, it's almost like, okay, we need to, when people are asked to implement, to put something into operation, it's like, we need to rush, we need to start off immediately. Why? We have to spend, or we've got the money is approved, we have to spend it. Also, people love, and when you are interviewed, you know, you're always asked, are you action oriented? Oh yeah, I'm action oriented. So we go straight into, you know, the action. Yeah, action oriented. So what happens is that, you know, unfortunately, you just, you know, rush on, you know. Oh, galloping? Okay. So then the quick consequence is there is no M&E, no M&E set up. What is this? Yes, funds first. There's no funds, or very little funds, or no thought about funds. And we know that you need funds. You know, some people have already for years, you know, World Bank, you know, many institutions said, you know, you need at least 5%, if not 10% of your implementation fund devoted to M&E if you want to find those results. But and part of it is that there's no personnel, or very little personnel. Do you remember when you needed to do M&E and then you realized, well, we haven't got any specialists, any technical people here. Well, let's just hire, right? A consultant. So we're going to have a consultant. And we'll talk about consultants, you know, the pros and cons, of course, of having an external consultant come and do M&E for your internal things, you know, that you need to know more about. Oh, is that possible? Okay. That's why we say, is this mission impossible? Is this mission impossible? So now we have a sense of, oh, we need planning. Okay. So the first thing that we need to think is, what is it that we want to do with M&E and with this implementation, with this action that we want to implement? Oh, we want to find out whether, as I said, you know, is there value for money? Is it worth, you know, the effort? So what does that mean is that we want to have a sense of a change. And you're always going to be asked this, so have you improved? Are things better because of what you've done? Sometimes have you reduced things, you know, if it's negative things, of course, mortality, you know, in health, we talk about mortality, morbidity. When you have negative things, or, you know, it can even for customer service, you know, have you reduced, you know, the number of complaints, etc. So this change, I think that's the first key concept that we are going to use in M&E. So it means things are different from what they were, okay? But suddenly you quickly realize it's like, oh, yeah, but I need to know how things are now. What's the current situation at present? That's why you have, you know, you've heard, right? Situation analysis. Oh, it's because I need to know what is this. And this brings us to another key concept, which is, that's why people start talking about, especially those who like, you know, to use the, you know, the terms, you know, proper terms. Oh, you need your baseline. Baseline, what's a baseline? So that's why we have this word cloud here. So baseline. Baseline, what is it? Well, similar terms are foundation, right? You want to build something, you want to construct something, especially about on learning, on what you did. You need your baseline, you need a foundation. Some people call it a pedestal, you know, where you stand on and you step on from. So it means that you need something to start with, a view. You need to have a vision of, okay, where are we, but where do we want to be? This is very important because it gives you another concept that you will use more and more and more as you move down that action line. Compare. You will have to compare many times, often. You will have to compare and to say, so this was then, this is now, how is it different? Compare. And that's why I had also a good opera singer friend repeat this concept, of compare. So it means also that it's before and after, right? You will always have a before and after. And you can see that, when you see in the TV, you see the advertisements, you'll see quickly, it's like before and after, weight loss. Have you seen that? Weight loss, the before and after. Oh gosh, that's a favorite. So before and after. So this is the same in development. We love to see what was before and now. What is it today? Or, how did we do in the future? So very important that we have that. Boom. It's an important thing to know, the before and after, the change measure. But what is it then that we're going to look for as baseline, as baseline? Aha. And then here's where you have another term that, well, we have to measure. We have to find out, what is it? And how do we do that? And that's why we have then, especially as a manager, now you start thinking about, oh, now I have to plan for it. I have to anticipate. This is where you have, once again, this is where you bring into place, your vision, the expectation. What is it that I want to do? What is it that I want to improve or reduce? What is it that I want to make different? And this is where you have goals, and then you have the purpose, and then you have what results. Another term. What results do I want to attain? Do I want to achieve? So you can see that now you have a lot of concepts moving around, and reason why we need now to organize it. We have terms, we have things before and after. So, and there's a during also, before, during, and after now. Okay, so we are seeing now that we have time come into play. There's a timeline, very important. But the other thing is also where. So in which level, which place do we want to exert this change? And that's where you have also those levels that we'll talk about, evaluation. And here then comes the last concept I'm going to talk in this first intro session. And that is a framework. We need to put together a framework. What is a framework? It's just, stay tuned, because we're going to explain this fully and entirely in our next session. So stay tuned, because there's a lot of great M&E concepts and examples and learning to be had in our future sessions. Thanks very much. Stay tuned.